Hello students, stratification is that term which is very commonly studied in sociology. Very commonly it is understood as the division of society in stratas, but in this video we will discuss something specific about stratification and which is again related to an important process of society, and that topic is feminism and gendered stratification, which we will discuss in detail in this video. But before discussing about feminism and gendered stratification, it is quite important to have a brief idea about what actually gender and stratification means. So, let us start with the meaning and understanding of gender. As in every society, people differ from each other on the basis of innumerable factors. They are different from others in terms of age, sex, personal traits, and many other factors are there. Just like any other society, Indian society is also heterogeneous instead of homogeneous. As a result, various factors are working and acting on this society. Apart from the differences that are natural, people also differentiate on the basis of their status, power, income, and so on. We may also refer to it as social stratification or social inequality. In Indian society, stratification mainly happens considering people on the basis of caste, class, and gender. So, again it is important to know what actually gender is. Gender is an important dimension of social stratification. It is a social term given to men and women. It includes personal traits and social positions that a member of a society attaches to being male or female. It is based on stereotyping and biasness about the functions done by men and women. Men are seen as the strong one compared to female. They are understood as leaders who provide food and shelter. Gender is conceptualized as symbolic representation and the behavior of men and women in their relations. So, this is the common meaning of the term of gender. Now, at the same time, it is very important to know what is the common meaning of the term stratification. Stratification means dividing something into layers. Therefore, social stratification means division of society into different layers. Social stratification divides entire society into different stratas, classes or layers, and put individuals into those layers. Stratification can be horizontal or vertical. When it is horizontal, then we can see the symmetry, and when it is in the terms of vertical distribution, then we see the difference on the basis of hierarchy. Now, the topic or the center theme of this video is gendered stratification. So, it is important to know what actually this term means. Gendered stratification refers to the social ranking where men typically inhabit higher status than women. Often the terms gender inequality and gender stratification are used interchangeably. Gender stratification is basically unequal power based on gender. Perfect example is the amount of men versus women. Literally, men have more power because of powers or the prestiges given to them. Gender stratification is basically unequal power based on gender, and in the sense of patriarchy, this is very commonly seen. In most societies, the tasks of women are clearly differentiated. In the West as well as in the middle class sections of Indian society, men have been seen as the breadwinners and women are expected to take care of house and raise children. This arrangement used to be considered as natural and complementary, having roots in the biological makeup of both the sexes. The economic dependence of women and sexual division of labor were closely interlinked, and this raised the voice in the context of feminism. The ideology of naturalness of division of labor has been challenged as women started entering the labor force in large number in the West. The rise of feminist movement in the West raised questions about division of labor and almost universal subordination of women across societies and cultures. If we talk in a general context, then no doubt bread earning is again an important feature for the running of the family. But we cannot deny that taking care of household activities and raising of children is an easy task. So, this is the question to be discussed, that if breadwinning is important and superior, then what are the reasons where we treat taking care of house and household activities and taking care of children are less important? And the feminist movements give voices to such kind of questions. Are women facing double burden of performing jobs which are negatively valued? For example, housework not being considered as work, whereas paid work outside the household are treated as work. Statistics show that women all over the world earn much less than men for the same work. Occupations are also segregated along gender lines, that these are the works especially reserved for males, or the masculinity is responsible for these works, and these are the tasks which can be easily, because these are the soft in nature, so they are associated to women. Other questions related to women's active participation in workforce, its consistent devaluation and women's exclusion from decision making. In understanding these issues, we look for answers in the stratification theories. Feminist scholars resist to treat the problem of women essentially an artifact of the contemporary system of economic exploitation. They have argued that the oppression of women is not to be seen as secondary to class oppression as a whole. Women are oppressed as a class by men, and patriarchal structures are geographically and historically almost universal. Therefore, wherever such system is prevalent, such things can be seen, that male are considered as superior than females. It has been widely criticized that class situation of family members is derived from that of the main breadwinner, who is usually a man. If the class status of a man who is the breadwinner of the family is not so strong, then that affects to the whole status of the family members. The active participation of women in all walks of life, the decrease in number of households that have only male breadwinners, passage of new laws created an environment for women's location in social stratification. Means, because of increasing the number of working women, because of passing of many laws which talks about the gender equality, the position of women in social stratification gained significance. Few terms which are very essential to discuss at this moment, that is patriarchy, matriarchy and sexism. Let us talk about them. Patriarchy is a form of social organization in which males dominate females. When we talk about matriarchy, that is again a social system which can be seen in the fewer parts, even in India also and in major parts of the world, where a form of social organization in which females dominate males, though it has been less documented. And when we talk about sexism, it believes that one sex is innately superior to the other, whether taking in terms of male or female. Now, if we talk about the cost of sexism and stratification, then male privileges comes at a price, more high risk behavior they are having, higher suicide rates, aggression, violence and state related stress related diseases they are facing, and problem related to trust and intimacy is also encountered by male. Masculinity and femininity are social constructions. If we talk about the woman, then women pay the prices too. How? Fewer opportunities in the workforce are given to women, dominates sales work and service occupation, while male dominates senior positions and trades. This is the major demarcation which we can see in the society. They are paid lower for the similar work which male members get more wages, and they are marginalized in sports and media. No doubt in the present scenario the scene is getting changed. They are getting their position, they are working hard, they are getting significance, they are raising their voice and they are working hard even in the sports and media sector also, but still it is a point of discussion till now. Now, what actually the term then feminism deals with? Feminism is a collection of movements and ideologies aimed at defining, establishing, demanding equal political, economic and social rights for women. This includes seeking to establish equal opportunities for women in education and employment. Now, when we talk about gender and social stratification in cross-cultural perspective, then cross-cultural research on sexual division of labor attempted to describe wide range of women's productive activities in societies with different modes of subsistence, but also the status implication of these on the status of women. Means the same task which is done by the male, if get good recognition in the society, then this approach states that same recognition should be given to women. In feminist anthropology, the relationship of gender with social stratification has been conceptualized primarily in the way gender informs social structure as a symbolic construct and as a metaphor for social action. In every society in the world, the society is stratified on the basis of underlying principles like race, ethnicity, class, gender, etc. The two concepts of hierarchy and difference are fundamental in the concept of social stratification. Feminist scholarships has pointed out the absence of women from the theorization of social inequalities in the mainstream social theories, and the mainstream social stratification theorists ignored sex as a criteria for understanding social inequalities. Hence, feminist scholars like John Ecker called for reconceptualization of stratification studies. For a holistic understanding of gender and class relations, the intersection of feminism with Marxism could be taken as a starting point of analysis. If the point is not raised in the favor or in the context of women, then how is it possible that it is in the center or mainstream theories of stratification? So, this is the feminist voice which raised voice of women, that where they stand in the process of socialization, in the process of social stratification. The scholars situated at the intersection of feminism and Marxism critically interrogated the concept of work and analyzed politics of naming certain kind of work as production work and subsuming women's work under the category of unproductive work. It has been pointed out by some scholars that women are situated at the margins in the paid economy, because center position is not given to them. Leadership positions, they are having less in number. As a result, they are at margins in the paid economy. The conceptualization of women as subsistence producer benefits the capitalist economy, as the unorganized sector is composed of more women. If they are working more in that area, then definitely their participation is regarded as less. With globalization, there is feminization of wage labor, wherein women from vulnerable sections defined by social class, color, race and ethnicity are employed at a cheaper labor price are more prone to exploitation, and innumerable cases can be seen in the society in this context. Various scholars are working in this area, and feminism is giving voice to this kind of situation in the society. As we can see that the task is same, time period given to the completion of the task is same, then what are the reasons that for the same task women are paid less in comparison to male? This is the question to be discussed and the voice to be raised, and the various scholars of feminist anthropology has given voice to it. Leela Dubey, Eleanor and Shirley Adniner provide a cross-cultural perspective focusing upon the significance and passivity of women and primary of men in various societies. Leela Dubey observes that making women invisible in spite their observed preference and effective visibility is the root cause of their low status in society. If they are not present at the particular area, then definitely their absence reveal less number in that particular area. Inequalities of gender can be explained by gender regimes, which is a cluster of practices, ideological and material, which in a given social context acts to construct various images of masculinity and femininity, and thereby to consolidate forms of gender inequality. Male and female are translated as men and women based on mutually exclusive traits of masculinity and femininity. Women are attached to a twofold stratification, that is in relation to men and in relation to other women. Means they have to face these typical sort of situation where on the one hand they have comparison with their male counterparts, and at the same time when the other women who are working in that area, they face comparison with them also. Gender structure different spheres of male and female inequality. Therefore, women movement in India have mainly focused on those issues which seems to cut across boundaries such as violence against women, work related inequalities, access to education and employment, health, social recognition of work of housewives and remuneration for their work, political repression and underrepresentation, etc. Raising issues of exploitation and oppression in different spheres of life like family, marriage, economy, religion, politics, feminists seem to cover a large area of gender concern in diverse Indian population. If we talk about caste and gender, then women's work contributes substantially to the occupational continuity of a caste group. Significant continuities in the link between caste and occupation can be seen with respect to Brahmin is still acting as Purohit for upper and middle class level caste. Among artisan caste of goldsmith, blacksmiths, potters, weavers, many are still using their traditional profession for their living, and women are helping them directly or indirectly at all levels of work. Basket weaving is a joint activity of men and women. In rural areas and small towns, it is common for women from households to petty traders and shopkeepers to grind spices and prepare fries, preserve for sale in the family shop. Means they are working all together. It is a fact that occupational continuity of a particular caste depend largely on women. It is a fact that women's contribution to occupational continuity is carried out within patrilineal limits and under the imposition and control of caste. A woman's education may also be restrictive, keeping the work demand and marriage market in mind. If we talk about the role of food and rituals, there again the contribution of gender is highlighted. Food constitutes a critical element in the ritual idiom of purity and pollution. The concern of purity and pollution centering on food being at home the prescription and prohibitions regarding food for women are governed by principles of kinship, marriage and sexuality. Women play key role in maintaining the purity of home. Notions of safety relating to both purity and pollution and the evil eye entail a variety of restriction and constraints on women in the task of processing, preserving, cooking and distributing foods. Marriage and sexual relations constitute a central arena in which caste impinges on women's life. Growing up of a female child is marked by several controls, idealization in familial roles and emphasis on female modesty and strong value attached to virginity of female. Women are expected to retain the purity of caste at all life stages. If we talk about tribe, gender stratification and change, then for a long time it was assumed that tribal societies were not stratified along caste and class in the Indian context, and the gender relations were seen to be near having equality framework in the tribal context. Tribal women's status was also seen to be much higher than the caste women, since concepts of purity and pollution did not apply to them to a large extent, and women enjoyed considerable autonomy in sexual and marriage affairs. Despite women's major contribution to tribal economy, they were excluded from inheritance of property and political decision making. Recent literature suggests that tribal societies are changing at a fast pace. Colonialism, coexistence with caste groups, missionaries, industrialization, education, new laws, political democratization, etc. have influenced them to a great extent. As a result, gender roles in that society, that is tribal society, is also undergone severe changes. Women's movement in India have created a great deal of awareness, and gender issues have come to the center stage. National and international agencies have created spaces through NGO action in rural and tribal areas for economic as well as social development. Women's struggles are about bringing social transformation and emancipation from cultural bondage, which keeps the stratification stable. Thus, it is very important as student of sociology that we must be aware that what is the meaning and significance of gender in society and how the role of feminism is taking place, and the contribution of stratification is influencing because of gender roles. The question of gender and stratification is not to be understood in terms of inequality between men and women, but in terms of subordination of women alone. Means when we talk about this discrimination, no doubt it is highlighted that women are affected more, they are discriminated more, but at the same time there are certain evidences where the role of the counterpart also seen as neglected. So, it is important when we talk about in context of inequality that a clear vision and the meaning of the term of stratification should be applied in the society. Recent researches on masculinity also suggest maleness to be the symbolic construct as the femaleness is. Means it is symbolic, no doubt biological creations are definitely making influence, but still these features of masculinity and femininity influencing the working capacities of individual, and therefore the demarcation of certain works reserved for male and certain works only for females in the paid economy losing spaces, and women are also entering in those areas which was once upon a time was confined to the entrance of males, and they are holding good, significant, important position in those paid work areas also. At the same time, it is important that their numbers are still very less. They can be counted on fingers, but still their entrance in such areas marking the beginning of the new era, where women are working hand in hand with male members in those specific zone areas which was once upon a time confined only for males. It reflects that how gender as a social construct express the relational dimension rather than the individual attributes across societies and cultures. Means in a particular society, in a particular culture, if specific sort of training is given to any gender, whether it is male or female, that you can be able to do this task only, you are confined for this only, you are not allowed to do that only, then this problem is gaining momentum. But if proper training is given in this way, that this is a task and which can be performed by an individual, whether of any gender, with these attributes, then definitely it marks an impression on the lives of the people, and that gendered stratification problems which are having huge negative impact on society gets settled down gradually. Therefore, in this video an attempt has been made to explain in brief about the meaning of the term global, meaning of the term gender, meaning of the term stratification, how feminism is associated to it, and what is the role of gendered stratification, how gendered stratification is hampering, and what are the ways to do to make out the solutions in the way of gendered stratification. In this video, it has been effort to give you the brief outline that how gender stratification can be settled out in the society and women can be given equal chance in the paid economy work. So, with this positive mark for the students of sociology, that gender stratification definitely gives a new avenues to the meaning and understanding of the term gender and stratification, an effort has been made in this video. At the same time, the role of women cannot also be ignored, because if they are entering in the paid economy work, their role in the household activities is also very significant. As a result, in the role of food activities and ritual performance, their role is always highlighted. So, this is the meaning that the role of women in comparison to another woman, the role of women in comparison to male members is having significant contribution in the society. So, this is not the demarcation between them, but this is the role of subordination should takes place, so that the proper functioning of the things, of the events takes place in the society. Male and female both are having their role in the society. They are social constructs which provide help for the proper working, proper functioning of the society. But if undue importance is given to one member and less weightage is given to another member, then definitely it is very commonly observed in the family life also that it cannot function in a very proper way. So, in this video an attempt has been made to give you an idea that how feminism is raising their voice to give the explanation about the meaning of gendered stratification in the society. This is gendered stratification, where in the tribal societies also, which once upon a time used to consider themselves as on equal grounds, equal power to male and female, have undergone changes. Because of these changes, the position of women in tribal societies is also a point of discussion. But as explained earlier, that in recent literature, tribal societies respond to coexistence with other caste groups, missionaries, industrializations, education, political democratization. They are also given due importance to the contribution of females in their society. Women movements in India also raising voice in this context, and new laws are also giving voice to women in this context. Thus, an effort has been made by the scholars, by the policy makers and by academicians that this topic of gender and stratification should not be understood only in terms of inequality between male and female, and not only in terms of subordination of women alone, but the equal contribution, equal role of male and female should be given significant position in the society. Society can work only when all the members are working in a coordinated way. They provide help to one another for the proper functioning of the society, and this can take place when there is clear understanding about the gender stratification in the society, and the contribution of feminism get highlighted in this particular video. Thank you.